Hello guys. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to do bgenv lighting for your track studio. So you will need the latest version of Track Studio. I suggest just going to the GitHub and downloading the latest version and running off of that one. Since sometimes the updater doesn't work as intended, so it's best to just go in there and download it from there and run it off of that. Okay, once you have that going, then we're also gonna need to use switch toolbox to open a bgenv file. Usually it's going to be the bgm file that you already have or want to use in your custom track. And once you open it, in my case it'll be the Neo Bowser City one. And the reason why is because we need to link bones, that we need to set up the bones that we're going to use in the track itself by actually calling on them in here in the point light course section. So you would click on it, open it, expand it. You will expand it until you get the point light and spotlight. These are the lights that are gonna be using bones. We will be using one light for the track itself and one for map objects. So I'll start with the spotlight one, since that's for a map object. I would select the first one, and then under the model name we will put the model that we're gonna use, which in my case is a K Cannon. You want to use a model that's in the map object folder, just to be clear, because those carry bones with them. Okay, and I have opened one up. I have opened it. Let me close that for a moment. Have opened it in Track Studio so that we can see the bones that it has. It has Cake Cannon and it has the smoke bone. And so the model name will be the map object model that we're using, Cake Cannon, right there. And the bone prefix, it's the smoke. So now that we got that settled, that's where the light will be attached. Next thing we need to do is give it a color that we want, a color offset if you know how to work that, and a specular color if you want it to be other than white. Then we have to set up a radius on it. This is all trial and error. For now, you can leave it by default if you want. I leave it at like 500 just to get a good idea of how wide it will be. And then there's also a direction. Okay, so the direction, I had to write it down. It has three values. It has three values that you can put. So I'll right click and select edit, and then it has a 0, 0, and a 1. I've put 1, and I'll explain that in a moment. They're all separated by a single space, and the first one, the first 0, represents if you want it to go left and right. If you want it to go left, you make a positive 1. If you want it to make it go right, you put a negative 1. I might have these backwards at the time of this recording, but just know it's positive 1 to go in one direction and negative 1 to go the other way. 0 will put it right at the center of the bone. Then the second one, the second digit right here, would be the up and down direction, and the third one will be the forward and backwards. And so I put a 1, meaning it'll be in front of the model by 1 unit, and if I wanted to go behind it, I will use a negative 1. So once I have that, you hit save. All of these values are edited, you can edit them by right clicking and select edit, and then you have to pick the area here. Now for colors, you can click on the box, get this color box. If you don't like any of that color, click define custom color, click wherever you like, change the intensity, lightness and darkness of it, and hit OK. Once you hit OK, it'll come back to this window, hit save, and then this is your pre-setup for your map object. Remember, you have to use the model name exactly as it is and the bone prefix that's found in the map object. You could go ahead and hit save afterwards and whatnot, and then hit save again over here for um, for it to be saved properly into your bgenv. All right, and then go ahead and do for the track itself. And like I said, these are all you're doing a pre-setup on the bgenv, because it's a two-part process, the bgenv and your blender file or your tracks file where you're going to put the bone. So this one, it's going to be on the track itself. The light, it will be on the track, not attached to a bone, to a model object, a map object. So since it's a light that's on the track, the bone prefix can be whatever you want. You can name it. In my case, I name it test 1, but the model name must be named after your track. So if you go on your track studio track and you click here, the name you see right here on model data under name, that's the exact same name you must have in there because it's case sensitive and whatnot, so you need to have it exactly as there. If you have spaces in your track, would recommend renaming it so you can put an underscore or something if you like, but other than that, it must be the same name, the bone prefix that you're gonna use in your track, the name that you're gonna give it. Then you have the same values that you could change, such as intensity, color offset, specular color, the radius, a radius offset. You can just play with these values. Some of them are digits. I have no idea what they are. Just play with a few of them at a time. Of course, direction is also available there. And just go ahead and trial and error it. You won't see any of this until you actually play in the course. And like I say, hit save and whatnot. That concludes that part of the bgenv. Now, moving on to the Blender side of things, or the 3D modeling side of things. You'll have to create, for my case, I'm using Blender. I created an armature and made this one at the center of the world, 0, 0, 0. That's the origin. I won't go into details how you set up an armature and make a parent and make a child out of it. You can look that up yourself. So once you make this one the parent, you can make the child and place it wherever you want. This is a city one, wherever I want. And as you can see, I named it test 1. So remember, this will be for the actual track and not the map object. Has to match the same. And then place it wherever you want on the track, wherever you need it to be. It can either be a spotlight or it can be a point light. It wouldn't matter. Just know you have to place it somewhere, and then you can also rotate it if you need to. Okay, so I have that one for the city map, for the custom track. And then I place this one for the smoke one. Remember, this is gonna be for the map object one, for the donut. And keep in mind that for now I placed it anywhere, but it still has to be parented to this one. Okay, all the lights you put would have to be parented to the root one down here at the world origin, regardless whether they're on map object or if they're gonna be on your track. So once you have this set up, the next step is to select your track and export it. Now in the option settings, you want to make sure you have, for me in my case, I'm selecting only the stuff that I want to export. I'll have selection on, include children, include armatures, And then the global orientation, I have it checked on, and I have the forward axis as the Y, positive Y, and the up axis as Z. Okay, and then all this other stuff too. Usually have these two on, and this is for the rest of the track for your UV faces and everything. Geometry. Let me go here to geometry. I have triangulate on for the track itself, and then if you have modifiers that you need to apply to them upon export, you can have that there checked. This I have nothing on. This one doesn't really matter because we're not doing animations in there. And extra stuff, I guess you can leave this on by default, wouldn't hurt. And then just save your DAE file. The reason why you want to have global orientation applied is because the old version of Track Studio used to rotate the track once you had bones. That's kind of why you also need the latest version of Track Studio, because it fixes that issue where it no longer rotates the track. Like it will rotate it at, let's say, a 90 degrees vertical. So it really throws it all off. Once you play it in game, then your DAE file will be visually different. So just hit this apply and then put the Y for axis, Z as up, save it, export it. Once you're done exporting it, when you go to your track, you're gonna right click, replace, and import your DAE file with the bones. If you haven't done bones before, you only see the mesh and materials folder. But once you import it with the bones, it should give you the skeleton folder. You expand that, you'll see the armature. You expand that, you'll see your root. This is the root parent bone, which is down there, and then the two bones, the one for the track. And then as test one, make sure it has to match exactly the same name, and the smoke. This is for the map object one, remember? And then once we go ahead and save that, you'll save it and you could check it out in track.